Well, hey everybody, it is time for some bonus content. That's right, we got a Friday drop, and not just a single drop, but 3 episodes. And you're going to get 2 more episodes next week. So we are sharing with you the first story arc of our new Patreon show, Shadows in the Smoke, which is a game of the Between. We always like to give people a taste of what we're doing over on our Patreon in case you'd like to come over and join us there to help support the show, be part of our community, and get access to all of the awesome content that we are making over there. So you've got 3 episodes today, and then you're going to have 2 episodes next Friday. Again, if you would like to support us in all of the endeavors that we do, you can go to patreon.com/thecritshow. Tiers start at just $1. But the tier that will give you access to the rest of the Between story, which is our new ongoing campaign, is the $5 tier. And I think it's worth noting that if you like what we do on the main feed, all of that is also supported by the Patreon. That is the bulk of what supports the show and everything we make. So if you like what you hear and you have the ability, it would mean the world to us to have your support and to have you as part of our community. So again, that is patreon.com/thecritshow. And if you're someone who's already a member of our Patreon and you know someone who might be interested in joining, Patreon now has the ability to give subscriptions as gifts. So if you are interested in that, you can head over to patreon.com/thecritshow/gift. And that gives you the ability to gift someone a subscription to our Patreon, something that people have been asking for quite a while, and Patreon has finally sorted out. So I hope you enjoy this first story arc of Shadows in the Smoke.
London is the beating heart of Victoria's empire, a city of unimaginable wealth and terrible poverty, ancient traditions, and modern industry. It is the largest city on Earth. Almost 4 million souls call it home, with more arriving every day. Evil can hide anywhere in a place like this, and trying to stop it feels as pointless as chasing shadows in the smoke. Welcome, hunters, to Shadows in the Smoke.
Woo!
Hey,
Hi, I am your host and GM, Kim, and I am joined around the table by
Megan.
Tass.
Kieran.
Kieran!
Welcome! Woo-woo!
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm so excited to be playing The Between. As many who are listening know, I'm a huge fan of all things Victorian, Gothic, romantic, and horrific, and I can't wait to share this game with all of you. So let's talk about The Between, shall we? The Between is a tabletop role-playing game written by Jason Cordova of The Gauntlet about a group of mysterious monster hunters in Victoria-era London. These hunters learn about various monstrous threats in the city and conduct investigations, or hunts, in order to neutralize them. Over time, they become aware of the plans of a mastermind who is pulling the strings behind the scenes. The hunters will eventually be forced to confront this criminal mastermind in order to save both queen and country. The Between is directly inspired by the television show Penny Dreadful, which is a favorite of mine, but also takes inspiration from British horror classics, the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, pulp-era media, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and From Hell. I should also mention that my particular version of The Between will also be borrowing liberally from the works of William Shakespeare. The game's mechanics are based on Apocalypse World and Brindlewood Bay, which we played on our Patreon just recently. I also want to mention that we are playing the original 2021 version of The Between. An updated edition of the game was recently crowdfunded and will be coming out in 2025, which will feature changes to some of the current playbooks and moves, as well as a ton of new content that I can't wait to read about. So if you're listening from the near future and are wondering why we aren't playing with the 2025 playbooks, threats, and rules, Now you know why. The aim of the characters in The Between is to keep London safe by investigating monstrous threats and learning how to stop them. Our aim as players is to learn more about these characters' mysterious pasts, as well as to paint a vivid picture of our version of Victoria-era London, a responsibility we all share. The tone of The Between is dark, mysterious, and sensual. A little bit of levity or humor from time to time is okay and will obviously come up, but we will always try to return to that dark, brooding place that the characters live in. Subject matter, here we go. Murder, cannibalism, body horror, dark sexual themes, erotic sensuality, threats to animals and children, foul language, blasphemy, witchcraft, and defiling graves and corpses are all things that can come up in this game. So, listener discretion. I will be doing time-stamped content warnings in each episode, so pay attention to the episode notes for that. But just know going in that this is a bit more of a mature game than we've done thus far on the Critshow, and I'm really excited about that. The other thing that I wanted to say is that this game is set in a historical time period. We are vaguely in the 1860s in London. However, we are not going to dwell on historical accuracy. I am a fan of certain tropes that are indicative of that era and not a fan of some historical events that were happening in Victorian London.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Some parts of history suck, like a lot.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
way.
We can do our best to represent technology and culture of the era, but we are going to get some things wrong, and that's fine. Do not come for us. This is our fantasy London.
You know what? I like to think that we're not getting them wrong. We're getting them right.
We're
It's
getting
it.
them more right than they did.
Yeah.
More to that point, during this time period, people with marginalized identities would likely have been treated very poorly in society. And we're going to ignore that part of history. In the world of The Between, things like race, nationality, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, disability, and neurodivergence are not a social barrier. So, let's talk about the hunters. These hunters are the current residents of a place called Hargrave House. Hargrave House is a mansion on Belgrave Square in London. The people who live there share the common goal of defending the city from whatever dark forces are lurking in its shadows, be it monster or murderer. They operate outside official channels, frequently taking cases that Scotland Yard can't or won't. Importantly, Hargrave House existed long before any of your characters took up residence there, and previous residents were doing the same work. So by the time that we join you all, you've already been living and working together for some time. We do not dwell on how you came to live at Hargrave House, nor do we dwell on who owns or funds Hargrave House. Those are all things that we may learn about in the future, but for right now, Hargrave House just is. What I would like you all to do for this first round of character creation is I would like you all to introduce your characters. You can say your name, your playbook. You can tell us what your character looks like. I'd love to know your stats. You can read your starting moves for us, as well as your vice.
I'm playing Fiona Cross. The playbook is The American. Surprise, surprise. I did not want to do
Megan refused to do an accent.
an accent. Well, an English accent anyway. She is late 20s, early 30s, tall and lithe with sun-brown skin and calloused hands. She has hazel eyes with heavily hooded lids and a scar that cuts off-center from her bottom lip down her chin and neck and ending at like her collarbone. She has long dark hair with a significant amount of like silver strands, which would be a little more than expected given her age, but it's all pulled back in a very loose braid with a red ribbon woven throughout. Her clothes are worn but well kept and in good condition. Fitted riding trousers and tailored coats that are like cinched at the waist, so it like still does accentuate her silhouette. It's not like the dresses that maybe would be commonplace amongst women in London at the time, but it's like still given a little bit of the look. Laced edge blouses with high necklines and a thin red silk scarf around her neck. A leather corset with this like fine turquoise embossed floral patterns that matches a turquoise ring on her right hand, which is pretty noticeable and meant to draw attention away from the badly healed rattlesnake bite scar on her left hand. My abilities, I have 1 vitality, 0 composure, 0 reason, 1 presence, and 1 sensitivity. My playbook moves are the quickening. You live with a curse that causes you to become savage, even feral, to the point where your body physically changes. At the start of the dusk phase, roll with composure or sensitivity, your choice. On a 10+, your body is stronger and faster, and you manage to keep the quickening in check. You roll with advantage when taking actions that use vitality until the next dawn phase. On a 7 to 9, you manage to keep the quickening in check, but just barely. Take the following condition, drained. On a miss, you are going to lose control. And then I have the options to retire this character and tell the keeper to put the curse in play, or reveal your curse to another hunter and ask for their help controlling you this night. If they agree, neither of you can take any action that would trigger a move during the upcoming night phase, though you should narrate scenes showing how the cursed character is being controlled throughout the night. During the dawn phase, you each mark 1 XP. This option can only be chosen once. And the other move I have is Tall Tales. When you tell a story from back home that is wildly unbelievable in order to charm someone, roll with presence. On a hit, they fall for your charm and do as you wish, or reveal a clue, your choice. On a 10+, they won't ask for anything in return. On a 12+, they also give you a keepsake to remember them by. Ask another hunter what it is, and then write it down in your personal quarters. And then my vice is thrill-seeking.
I will be playing Lancel Rose, the Vessel. Lancel is of medium height, pale skin, long black hair. He often wears very fine tailored suits in blacks and dark grays, accentuated with lots of burgundies, dark purples. He has mismatched eyes. One eye is just a complete pale gray, and the other is slit like a snake's and is a bright sapphire color. He's often wearing quite a bit of jewelry. He has pierced eyebrow and ears, many rings on his fingers, mostly with onyx and amethysts. My abilities for vitality, I have -1, composure 0, reason 1, presence 1, and sensitivity 2. The move that I start with is called Rites of Salt and Smoke. You are skilled at contacting dark entities in order to perform magical rituals. Choose what kinds of offerings these entities require. What I have chosen is Perversion of Christian Rituals. So with this, when you give offerings to the dark entities that are always lingering in your peripheral vision, roll with sensitivity. On a 10+, the magic works without further cost. Choose your effect. On a 7 to 9, the magic works imperfectly. Choose your effect and a complication. The effects are: do one thing that is beyond human limitations, bar a place or portal to a specific person or creature, trap a specific person or creature, banish a spirit or curse from that person, object, or place it inhabits, communicate with someone or something that you do not share a language with, or observe another place or time. And the complications that can come up: the effect is less than you wanted, the effect is short-lived, you take a condition, the keeper will tell you what, the magic draws immediate unwanted attention, or the magic has a problematic side effect. And on a 12+, I can unmark the Cosmic Passage if it is marked. If you do so, increase your reason by 2, but leave your sensitivity the same. Ignore this result if your sensitivity is 3.
What is the Cosmic Passage, you may ask? We'll talk about it later.
I thought we might. And the additional move that I chose is called Familiar. You have a small animal companion through which you can work some of your magic. When you take this move, choose your companion, name it, and add it to your personal quarters. It can never be marked so long as the die roll you are taking advantage on is associated with the magic related to the familiar's listed affinity. There are several options, but what I have chosen is a snake with the ability of uncovering forbidden knowledge.
Yes, tell me about the snake.
The snake is a blue racer,
Oh.
which is a constrictor type of snake. They are not venomous, but they are very, very fast and very, very beautiful. His name is Adnam.
Oh, and they're little too.
Yeah, they're little guys.
Oh, so cute.
And lastly, my vice is absinthe.
Yes, I love licorice drink.
Delicious.
I actually do. I love that black licorice flavor.
He misspoke. Abstinence is what he
No,
tried to say.
no.
Jesus said.
Certain dark entities are going to be really disappointed.
Oh.
Okay, I guess that brings lastly to me the factotum.
Factotum always goes last. It's not just because you're new, Kieran.
No, it's okay. I get it. I understand. Whose name is Wainsworth. They are very plainly dressed in a dark navy suit, dark dress shirt, and very finely kept loafers. And while they have a traditionally masculine presenting form, there's just something about them that you can't say for certainty what gender they are. They have neatly clipped light brown hair that is often styled differently to avoid wandering eyes and just fly under the radar as much as possible.
Is Wainsworth a last name, a first name, or do they just go by Wainsworth?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, okay.
I
love
only
it.
get one
Yes.
name.
Rules is written, the factotum only gets to choose a name.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's great.
So my abilities for the factotum are 0 to vitality, 1 to composure, 2 to reason, 0 to presence, and 0 to sensitivity. As for my playbook moves, the first one that I have is the employer. You are a longtime servant of one of the other hunters. Decide which hunter it is and discuss it with their player. And the player that I am the servant of, if I can say, is Lancel Rose.
Woohoo!
Fine.
You know, the American could bring a vaguely British servant with them.
You could be my factotum, but you'd have to play as a little horse.
Oh, dude. Time to change my character. That character is now your employer. The following rules apply. Your employer is the only hunter you can request a scene with for purposes of triggering the vulnerable move, though others may request a scene with you in the normal way. Roles associated with any action done in direct defense of your employer are taken with advantage. Whenever your employer is retired from play, you are also retired from play and become a side character attached to the Hargrave house.
Yikes.
So
Yikes.
don't die.
I suddenly feel a little more pressure.
My
Ooh.
life is in your hands.
And not only that, Wainsworth, it's now your responsibility to make sure that Mr. Rose stays alive.
Don't even worry about it. I got you.
Okay.
It'll be fine. Ooh. And the additional move that I took was My Person Friday, where once per session, you can appear in any scene at any time, ready for action. If there is an object or tool that would be helpful in the scene, you have it on hand and add it to your personal quarters.
So useful.
That's so good.
And then my vice is history books, because I'm a little nerd.
Nice.
Well, thank you, hunters. We are going to go back around the circle and get to know our hunters a little bit more. So, what I would like you to do this round is go ahead and read that little italicized flavor text at the top of your character sheets. And then we're all going to go around, including me, and think of one item that might be in your character's personal quarters. Personal quarters in this game are a little bit like a character's equipment or inventory. In play, they are used to, as long as you can fictionally invoke one of those items in your personal quarters, you can mark it, which means it can't be used again, and then you can use that personal quarters item to give you advantage on a roll or to counteract disadvantage I may give you due to certain narrative reasons. When a personal quarters item has been marked, it doesn't no longer exist. It's just it can never be invoked to give you advantage in that way again. It still exists on your person or in your rooms, but yeah.
It's just out of juice.
Exactly. It just needs to recharge.
Okay, well, for the American, it says, you grew up in a big city on the eastern seaboard of the United States. The scion of a prominent family, you detested that life. The formality, the pretension, the venomous hypocrisy, and so you went west. You had adventures, got good with a gun, even joined a traveling show for a time. But then came the curse and everything changed. You did your best to control it, and some nights were definitely worse than others, but eventually it got to be too much. Even your days were affected by the changes within you. Your behavior became reckless and unpredictable, and then you had to run far away. In the end, it was London calling, a thick, throbbing mass of humanity within which to lose yourself. The whole world and all its lovely pleasures right within your grasp. but the curse has found you, like it always does. Hopefully these new folks, these hunters you've thrown in with, can help you for good, permanent-like, when the time comes.
So what do we think belongs in Fiona Cross's rooms at Hargrave House?
I'm going to go with a lucky silver horseshoe.
Ooh.
One for each foot.
Nice and comfy. I think that in your travels you managed to keep a poster from one of your shows that you did, Way Out West.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
For my personal quarters item, I'm going to go ahead and make the turquoise ring that you described in your character description. Let's just go ahead and make that a personal quarters item. Turquoise ring.
Nice.
Excellent.
Okay, for the vessel. For as long as you can remember, dark entities have been near. They lurk just inside your peripheral vision, just at the mirror's edge. When you close your eyes, you can actually feel them. Their cold breath, their oily touch, an occasional feverish embrace. They want to be inside you. They want to rub against your guts and deposit their power. Others are drawn to you as well. Those who would use you to master these dark things in order to serve their own agenda. Some of these interlopers, these usurpers, can be of use, such as the hunters with whom you share a home. Others, like the Coven, are best avoided. In either case, you are no one's object, tool, or weapon. You are no mere bystander. Your fate is yours to shape.
So, Mr. Rose already has Adnam, his familiar, in his personal quarters, but what else are in his rooms at Hargrave House?
I think he always has a compact mirror.
that's
Oh,
good.
okay.
I was thinking, since you're, dunking on Christianity, maybe a sharpened crucifix.
Okay. Yeah, yes. Okay.
I love that. God, what do I want to give you? Okay, this is a nod to the Gauntlet community. I would like to give you, Mr. Rose, a flesh terrarium.
Jesus Christ. What?
A what?
Whose flesh is it?
Indeed. What is it?
Wha-
Is it a
Is it
terrarium made of flesh?
yeah.
Is it a terrarium for
For
flesh?
flesh?
To put flesh
Um,
into?
That is for you to decide, Mr. Rose, when you decide to use it.
Okay. Okay.
Tass, you of Meat Bus are blanching at this.
I've never thought of keeping stuff in some meat, so I don't know. This is a whole... Oh, boy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have fun with it. Put it to good use.
Have fun with it.
That's what I was thinking. I mean...
It's just for Adnam. Don't worry about it.
Adnam lives in the flesh terrarium.
Oh
He likes it warm.
It's nice and safe in there.
no. Gross.
Okay, so lastly, the factotum. You had a life before you entered the service of your employer, but the details of that life are unimportant. All that matters now is the person you serve and Hargrave House, where you will grow ancient and die, if you're lucky. Most likely, your employer's colleagues, these hunters, will be the end of you, overturning things that should remain hidden and goading on terrors that dwell in dark places. You'll do your best to help them, of course, to keep them alive, because without them, what are you really?
Now, what do we think might be in Wainsworth's, no doubt, very small, very modest quarters in Hargrave House?
I love the idea of you had a life before, but that doesn't matter.
Unimportant.
That's the past. So I think you have a postcard.
Ooh.
I don't know where from, just
Mhm.
at some point in your life up to now you have this postcard and it's kind of worn, but I think it's blank.
Yeah.
It wasn't sent to you and you didn't send it out. It's just a blank worn postcard.
Okay.
I'm thinking like a box of varying lengths and thicknesses of thread. Like for stitching, say, a hole in a shirt or a hole in an employer.
Whatever it gets used for.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm thinking a flesh terrarium.
Don't know where that's coming from, but
Oh my gosh. Twins.
mine
Twins.
mine had yours.
I just
Oh no! I think you have a silver locket.
Oh, okay.
What's inside is for you to decide.
It's only for me to know.
And only
Nice.
for us to uncover during play.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6 individual nerds candies.
It's cut out pictures of Mr. Lancel Rose.
Oh
It's a tiny flesh terrarium.
God. I
You
quit.
found my collection.
Oh.
You're taking cuttings like it's a plant.
Oh, gross.
Oh.
Has little
Propagating.
memories. And this one's from this crime scene.
Oh.
Oh, well, thank you, hunters. We learned a lot about each other's characters right now, and I loved it. And now no more. These characters are to remain mysterious. We should avoid talking about our characters' pasts, both in and out of character, unless we are prompted to by the game's rules. This is going to drive me up the wall because I am the nosiest person in existence, and all I want to do is find out all about your backstories.
Honestly, when this was pitched as what we're going to do, I was like, oh, the setting, that makes sense. Kim is perfect for this. And then we learned these details, and I'm like, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand
Make it
how.
make
Why
sense.
did she ever choose to play this game?
Yeah.
Secret time.
Secret time. I hate secrets. But the reason why we keep these secrets is because there are some really, really cool things that happen in the game that prompt discussing character details. So for right now, we try to remain mysterious about our backstories and wait for them to come up during play. So, how do we play the Between? The Between is sectioned off into various phases. There are 4. They are called the dawn phase, the day phase, the dusk phase, and the night phase. The dawn phase and the dusk phase are kind of like character upkeep, out of character phases. And the main play will take place in day and night. We are technically in the dawn phase in this bit of character creation. So let's go ahead and address the one last part of your character sheet, which is figuring out your dawn questions. How we level up in the Between is every dawn, I will ask you a series of questions about the activities that you underwent in the previous cycle of play. And if you can say yes to any of those questions, you get to mark a point of experience for every answered question. So your dawn questions, the first 3, you all share. You always have marked, did the hunters answer a question, capital Q? Did the hunters resolve a threat? And did you experience an echo in the night? All terms we'll talk about later on over the next couple of episodes. But then you all have 5 unique dawn question prompts for each of your playbooks, and I would like you all to mark 2 right now. And these are usually like role play goals, things that you think your character might be able to accomplish over the course of the next cycle, or scenes that you would just like to see happen so that you can say yes and get those experience points. So what is everyone's marked dawn questions today?
I'm going with, did you use violence to solve a problem, and did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change?
All right.
I'm going to go with, did you have a face-to-face encounter with a dark entity? And, fuck it, let's go for it. Did you make love to a human in order to forget the darkness?
Yes.
Can I also address this, too, because it sounds, just on its own, it sounds very specific to say, did you make love to a human to... in order to, et cetera, et cetera. There is another option that is also the same, but with a dark entity.
Ooh.
Yeah, but not to forget the darkness. Did you make love to a dark entity just because it felt good?
Because it felt good.
To remember the darkness.
For funsies.
Hello, darkness.
Just for the lulls.
The dawn questions that I will be taking are, did you ensure your employer got credit for your triumphs? And did you engage in petty reprisal for someone who angered your employer?
Oh, no.
So
Yes.
watch out.
Oh, my gosh.
Excellent. So when we get into the day phase, which we will in the next episode, I'm going to introduce a threat, a monster or some sort of supernatural or unsupernatural threat that is plaguing London, and charge you, Hargrave House, with dealing with it. There are several questions that have to do with resolving threats. So this might be, for example, where is the killer's lair? The question could be, is this a legitimate monster at all, or is this just, someone in a suit? And how we answer those questions are by investigating locations, talking with side characters, doing magic rituals, whatever you might do, to gather clues, capital C, clues. The interesting thing about this mystery system, which we played with in Brindlewood Bay, is that I, the keeper, do not have the answer to any of these questions. I will never know what room in the house a ghost is most tied to. I won't know where the vampire's lair is. That is all things that we will figure out together by taking all of the clues that we have gathered and seeing if we can use those clues to build a narrative that makes the most sense to us. Once we have applied all the clues that we wish, we will then roll some dice using the answer a question basic move. And if the result is a success, the answer you've arrived at with the clues you have been given is the correct one. If you have rolled a fail, it is wrong, and I will make a hard move against you, and you need to try again to answer a question. What is unique with the Between, which we will get into as we start playing multiple cycles of play, is that the hunters are stretched pretty thin. You are, with the exception of this first day phase, never working on just a single threat at one time. You are always juggling, sometimes up to 3, sometimes more than 3 threats at one time. So things do become kind of dangerous kind of quickly.
Out of curiosity for that, if we have like multiple threads going and we are learning clues to eventually ask questions about these threats, is it like, how do I ask this? Should we like keep tracking them like this is the clue for this threat and this is the clue for that threat? Or is it like, okay, collectively we have 14 clues now, but we need like 30 to address all of these different things? Like, can we use all of our 14 on one? Do you know what I'm asking here?
I know exactly what you're asking.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
great question. And I will tell you that I have unique and specific clue lists for each threat.
Okay.
When I give you a clue, I will tell you which threat it is for. You can only apply the clues for that specific threat to answering the question for that threat, if it makes sense.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love that because that will keep me focused. I don't know if that makes sense, but that helps me. Great.
No, I love the idea that we get like a plus 11 on solving one threat, and then the other ones we just failed, and we're like, well, I have no idea what's happening over there.
Guess they got away with it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the answer a question basic move. There are a couple other basic moves that we will be dealing with some frequency. First two are very easy, the day move and the night move. The day move is when you do something risky or face something you fear in the day. You're going to be rolling with a relevant stat. The night move reads extremely similarly. It's just actions taken in the night phase. You have 5 stats in this game. They are Vitality, Composure, Reason, Presence, and Sensitivity. We are going to be rolling with Vitality if the action you are undertaking involves your physical body or trying to fight something, acts of endurance, things like that. You're going to be rolling with Composure if it's about keeping a cool head or trying to not be afraid of something. We are going to be rolling with Reason if your hunter is trying to read, investigate, examine crime scenes, research, things like that. You're going to be rolling with Presence if you are trying to manipulate or persuade side characters or otherwise just kind of capture their attention. You're going to be rolling with Sensitivity if you are performing magic or dealing with the supernatural in any way.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
So, day move, night move.
Uh-huh.
Is that literally just based entirely on the
What time it is on the clock?
Yeah, where we're at in the shift? Or is there precedent for we've got a wild hair to do something in the early phases, but it's super dangerous, so it might be like a night move level of repercussions?
Ooh, I love that question. And the answer is day move and night move is somewhat indicative of just the time. If you're in the day phase, you're rolling the day move. If you're in the night phase, you're rolling the night move. However, there is a level of fictional positioning that comes with that. So if you are undertaking something extraordinarily dangerous in the day, crawling into a coffin or going into a vampire's lair, that's going to instantly trigger a night move, even if you happen to be doing it at 10 in the morning.
Cool.
Similarly, if you are, having a night at the opera in the evening and you are among friends, it would be the day move, possibly, unless something really sinister is happening.
Fair. Oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, and that also makes me think in certain situations we're going to suddenly get a clue to the vibe if one or the other is called.
Indeed, yes. The other move you're going to be rolling with quite a bit of frequency is the information move. The information move is going to be rolled with a relevant ability, my choice, and on a hit, you will find a capital C clue, and I will tell you what it is. On a 12+, you also find a mastermind clue. We're going to talk about the mastermind in a bit more detail once they come up, but the mastermind is kind of like the big bad of this season of The Between. Ultimately, at some point, you're going to gather enough mastermind clues where I'm going to stop giving you normal threats, and you're going to enter the end phase of play, which is dealing with the mastermind threat. The next basic move is the vulnerable move. Vulnerable move we use to clear conditions. Conditions, you can have a max of 3. They usually come up as a result of mixed successes or failures or just due to fictional positioning. They are kind of your health track in the game. If at any point you have 3 conditions and I ask you to take a 4th, you need to mark a mask. So let's talk about those. Each of you have a list of what is known as masks of the past and masks of the future on your character sheet. We, in play, invoke masks whenever you are trying to bump up your roll after dice have already hit the table. If at any point you are unsatisfied with the results of your roll, you can always choose to spend a mask. And those will bump up a miss to a mixed success to a full success, and a full success to a 12+. Masks of the past you have to mark in order, and each one will ask you to narrate a flashback prompt of your character's life before they arrived in Hargrave House. Masks of the future are a bit more unique. There are 5 of them. They are the Gilded Door, the Moss-Covered Gate, the Darkened Threshold, the Cosmic Passage, and the Blood-Soaked Portal. Each one does something unique. Each Mask of the Future could give you a permanent condition. They could put certain playbook-specific threats in play. They could change your stats in some significant way. And one also just violently retires your character. So probably mark that one last. Importantly, at any point, you can retire your character to safety if you have never marked a Mask of the Future. But the moment that you mark a Mask of the Future, the only way out for your character is a violent one. So keep that in mind, I suppose.
Cool.
But I'm sure nothing bad will happen to you all, right?
No.
No, of course not. Of course not. But we'll see in the next episode.
Shadows in the Smoke is a Critshow Studios production, produced by Kim Dalton with music by Jake Purley. This episode edited by Eric Wilburn and sound designed by Kim Dalton.